Public sector unions are expected to challenge a Labour appeal court ruling. It dismissed their application to force government to live up to its final year salary increase as part of a 3-year wage deal. Government says it simply does not have the money to fulfil the agreement. To discuss this further, we're joined by Sadtu's Mugwena. Maluleke, a very good morning to you. Tell me about the court action that you are taking on.
Good morning and good morning to viewers at home, and thank you for having us. Indeed, we are taking the matter to the Constitutional Court on an application for appeal, where we want to argue to the Constitutional Court that the Labour Appeal Court has erred in finding that the collective agreement was invalid and unlawful on the basis that on 2 occasions the Cabinet had approved this collective agreement in 2018. In actual fact, January and April, the Cabinet set and then approved, and on the basis of that, the Public Service and Administration Minister was empowered as representing the employer to sign this collective agreement. This was evident in the court, where basically the Treasury and the DPSA were then presenting conflicting evidence on the issue. The other was talking about affordability, and the other one was talking about the validity in terms of unlawfulness and the fact that it is unconstitutional, and that we are clear as Labour that Section 216 of the Constitution has not been offended by this collective agreement on the basis that the Treasury is not above the Cabinet, and therefore we are saying this is going to affect and threaten the efficacy of the most important principle of collective bargaining and its compliance, and it has got unintended consequences for the entire labour market, where workers really would not be protected in terms of the collective agreements that they should have signed.
Yeah, That's the basis about the impact that you see on those you represent, and how this fits into the fact that the government does not have money at the moment.
We are saying to the Constitutional Court, the lower court, being the Labour Appeal Court, should have found that the collective agreement is lawful, and therefore the issue would be it is not affordable. And if it's not affordable, because clearly, yes, we are aware that indeed we are in an economic crisis, therefore would have instructed us to say, go and sit and agree on the duration, and as well as the quantum of how much can be affordable, and then so that you are then able to implement the provision of the agreement in a different way, modified whatsoever as you agree. But just to find it unlawful and unconstitutional, we think that the Labour Court has erred, and that's what we want to correct. We want to understand and appreciate that the government is facing many challenges, including the fact that, yes, there are competing priorities in our country, and health is one of them, and therefore we also want to say to the court, we are willing to go back to negotiate and talk to the government around these issues.
Okay, I mean, doesn't that seem a waste of time? I mean, you've highlighted the situation in the country, the dire straits that we are in, and at the same time, you're also finalising your wage demands. I mean, again, you possibly want more money when there is none.
Well, we have got to understand that as we're facing this particular crisis, it is not going to help if we want to have an economic recovery as soon as possible to suppress the wages. Once you suppress the wages, we are going to be left behind by many countries in terms of recovering our economy. So it must be understood that it's important to always, sustain the salaries so that you sustain the consumption and the demand in the economy, so that the economy does not collapse. As for now, clearly the public servants are the ones that are sustaining the economy, and it's important, but it can't recover with them only. We need to understand that it's important that collective agreement is part of the economy. It's an economic tool, because it then establishes those particular thresholds to ensuring that inequality does not get to be exaggerated. And unfortunately, in this instance, if we we, as workers in the country, are not going to be negotiating with our government and our employers to ensure that salaries are sustained, and therefore they are able to be sustainable in terms of the inflation and other things. We are going to be part of a genocide where basically the economy is just going to collapse.
Okay, you say genocide. I mean, we know that the wage bill is the biggest factor when it comes to the economy in the country. The IMF and many other bodies have said it's something that we need to tackle. I mean, it also fosters reliance on government for employment. I mean, this is something has to give there.
Well, we must also, demystify the issue of the fact that the wage bill is a problem in the government. It's not the only problem. The problem is the money that is being funded to ESCOM, the money taken to PRASA, the money taken to SAA. That's where the problem is, not the wage bill. In actual fact, there is an understanding in the Public Service Administration that there has always been this thing of there's a lot of people that are employed. Let me tell you, we need 97,000 people in health, and including to that, we need additional 88,000 again in health. We need more police, and therefore to then begin to say that the wage bill is a problem, how are we going to address the needs that are there if the wage bill is a problem? The problem is the IMF. It is the fact that our country has given commitment to the IMF to say they will then reduce the wage bill. They have just identified it as a problem. There's no scientific proof around that. We have studied everything that they have presented, and they are always presenting conflicting information. As the Department of Health is presenting something else and say we need more workers in the health, and you look at the issue of the police, the Minister of Police says we need more, but the Treasury says no, we want a lean state, we want a lean public.
Mugwena, sorry to cut you off there, we're going to have to leave it. Maluleke, good to talk to you, thank you very much.